Welcome back to another Wisdom Wednesday discussion. I am Science Inspire, your guide, generating, uplifting, inspiring, developing, and empowering you to live inspired every day, forever, because that's life. Today, we're talking about life in action, breaking the cycles, embracing abundance, and multiplying joy. And life in action is going to be the culmination of our 4-week journey that we've taken through the month of May. May was about abundance. May was about joy. May was about harvesting or being prosperous. And so to culminate that, we talk about life in action, how we're going to put all this together so that we can live inspired every day, forever. So to begin with, let's affirm our affirmation for today is: I embrace this moment as fertile ground for abundance, joy, and inspired action. My life transforms what once held me back into what now sets me free. I embrace this moment now as fertile ground for abundance, joy, and inspired action. My life transforms what once held me back into what now sets me free. Breaking free of those chains, right? Breaking through. We keep talking about how we're going through things. This is us coming from the old, being renewed. Now we're embracing that new life. That is our intention, to awaken our awareness to the invisible cycles that have limited us, and now to empower us to disrupt our self-limiting patterns and to give us the ability to guide ourselves into a life in action. We want to embody joy. We want to be intent on living this abundant life that we were promised. This isn't something that we're just hoping, wishing, praying for. This is something that we are going after. We're commanding, because this is what we were told. This is what we were commanded to do. And so the outcome is to leave this space equipped to break the normalized patterns that we've been going through, to begin to see ourselves as empowered and not without, to embrace the abundant nature that is our natural state when we are in joy and inspired to act. Life principle or key message that we have today is: live inspired every day, forever, by choosing joyful, intentional rebellion against anything that holds you back. We're rebelling against anything that holds us back, including ourselves. Suffering is not your destiny. Presence, purpose, and action is your destiny. So suffering is not what we're destined for, but we are destined to be present, to be purposeful, and to act. So let's identify the problem. What's the issue? What is going on in your life that has hindered us from living life inspired? So where in your life have you accepted pain or struggle as just the way it is? Oftentimes we're like, you know what? Hey, that's just how it is. Ain't nothing I can do about it. That's just the way it is. So what we want to ask ourselves is, where in our life have we just accepted pain or struggle just the way it is? And why? And what would it cost us to keep living this way? If we just continue to accept this pain, this struggle as the way it is, meaning there's nothing we can do about it, what is it going to cost us if we continue to live that way? That is an uninspired life. So we're asking ourselves, what's the cost to being inspired, to be inspired? Or what will we pay if we're not inspired? This discussion, obviously, is the culmination of what we've been talking about. Yet it's also been inspired by a quote from Adam Grant in the book that I just recently picked up called Originals. And to paraphrase, he says, people who suffer the most are the least likely to question or change it. And this isn't just something that he said. This is based off of years of study and research, where it's been shown that when polled, the people who are suffering, the people who need the most change are least likely to question or change anything. So people who suffer the most just accept it as the way it is. It's life. So they're not going to change it because they don't believe it can change. And before we think that's crazy, we got to actually think about ourselves and think about how many times we have utilized that. That's just the way it is to justify something happening to us. We're in a system where we say things are unfair, yet we don't fight against it. We just say it's just the way it is. People will tell us that things are not right, unjust, illegal. And we'll just say, well, that's just the way it is. And I remember being there, just accepting anything, just taking whatever. Feel like we get slapped in the face and we just say, it is what it is. We get kicked, I get knocked down, we don't get up again. We say, it's just the way it is. If that's just the way it is, when did it become that way? Because it couldn't have started that way. Yet we've accepted it as the way that it is, as if there is nothing that can change it. So when we do that, we put ourselves in the hole. Normally, if you think that if you visualize somebody, Timmy fell down the well and he said, that's just the way it is. So nobody ever knew he was in the well. Nobody could ever save him from the well. This is what it feels like that we're doing. We will fall down and say, it is what it is. So we don't expect to get up anymore. And because of that, there is no expectation for you to get up. So you get knocked down, you're not expected to get up. That becomes the way. We're just going to knock them down because they're not going to get up. It's not that they can't get up. They won't, because you're in the least likely position to change it. And so in that position, as we've been knocked down, we're on the ground, we're looking up and we ask, why am I suffering? We get angry at the fact that we're suffering, the fact that we're down there, the fact that this is our lot in life. We get mad. Maybe we don't realize that suffering persists because we internalize the oppression and we say, it's just how life is. In other words, we become uncomfortable because we choose to sit when we should stand. If you sit down too long, it's going to be uncomfortable. And when it becomes uncomfortable, that is a sign for you to stand. We have gotten so comfortable sitting, we're going to sit in discomfort. We're just going to turn a little bit. We try to make discomfort comfortable. Stand up. And when standing gets too uncomfortable, sit down. But never just accept it as the way it is and do nothing. This is what becomes of us when we turn a blind eye. And they oppress one group, they oppress one system, they oppress one area, and you say, that's not me. And then that oppression is knocking on your doorstep. And where we are in the world is that the old life that we've been used to is oppressive. And we've all just accepted it as the way it is. There's nothing we can do until you decide to do something. So what we have decided is that we no longer want to accept this old oppressive life. We were told to be renewed. And so out with the old life that oppressed us, that we accepted things as just how life is, so there's nothing we can do about it, and in with the new life that tells us that we can live inspired every day forever, because that is life. And the way that we do that is through the commandment that we are here to prosper. So in order to prosper, we must put in the required effort daily. So if we're going to live an inspired life, we must never stop prospering. It requires effort daily in order to live inspired every day forever. So if you want to get to this, you have to do that. Nowhere is it telling us just accept things for what it is, because there's nothing you can do about it. No, there is something that you can do about it. Instead of sitting, we have to stand. Why do we tell ourselves there's nothing I can do? And what happens when we tell ourselves there's nothing I can do? We do nothing. And I love that word, nothing. It used to mean something to me. It used to be everything. I would hear the word nothing, and it was like it had power. I broke it up. We forget compound words. Takes two, break them up, split them. Since we all breaking up anyway, relationships don't last. So break all these compound words up too and let them be single. and understand that nothing is no thing. So therefore, if we tell ourselves there is no thing I can do, then we do no thing. If we believe we cannot, we do not. As complicated as it is, it's that simple. You tell yourself you can not, because can is an action word and you put not there. Not what? It doesn't make sense. So we say I cannot, then I do not. So just remove that because you can. It's not that you can't, you can. So what happens when you say I can do or I can? You begin to see that. You will do that. It's only because we're not seeing that we are really the motor that either revs the engine and has it going, or we're the brake that's going to stop it and we're not moving anywhere. I know we have believed for so long that it's the outside because we were of the world. And anytime we of the world, that's what we're going to see, all of it. So we thought that that was us. And society is going to tell you what you can't do. Society is going to tell you who you're not. Society is going to put the limits on you. So when you told yourself, there is no thing I can do, that wasn't from you. When you keep believing that that's just how it is and I cannot, that's not from you. And if it's not from you, you can get rid of it. It's not yours to begin with. So get rid of that. And let's see what happens when we flip it. We told ourselves we cannot, so we do not. So if you tell yourself, I can do anything, you will do anything. So instead of I can't, what if you can? This is why I say have a can-do attitude. A person that believes they can won't see how they can't. They might see something that might be what a blockage. We go around it. We devise a plan. It's not something that says I can't. So there's something in a row. There's another way we can go. There is always a way, unless you lack the will. And so as we know that cannot is a compound. So if you can, the question is why not? Because if you don't, you do not. So if you can, then we just take away that don't. Because we can, why not? That's where the problem happens. You ask yourself, why not? And listen to who's negating. You say, why not? Because I'm no good, because I'm not this, because I'm not that. And no, so now what we're doing is figuring out where did that come from? If you say, why not? And you hear the negatives, where did that come from? Where did that originate from? And if it's not for me, then I don't need it. I need to let it go. Return to sender. And the scriptural anchor that we have to back this up comes from Romans chapter 12, verse 2. One of my favorite. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be not conformed. In our old life, which was oppressive, we conformed. We forgot. We said, be not, we forgot, slipped. Now we have the ability to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. If we allow this suffering to persist because we are passively conforming, then it will. If we allow the suffering to persist because we are passively conforming, then it will. We're not seeing how we have more power, more control over our lives than we believe. And my question is, when did we lose it? When did we lose control? When did we lose sight that we have control? So if we have the ability to have control over our lives, why don't we? Why not? We were commanded to do this. The scriptural anchor that backs this up is going to come from Genesis chapter, the first chapter. So the first thing we told, we done forgot already. It happens in the beginning and we forgot it already. Because it starts in Genesis 1, chapter 26. And God said, let's make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. So again, one of the most confusing things for me now, when I look back at myself in my old life, I get confused. I was like, how did that person not believe in themselves? How did that person doubt How did that person think the worst of themselves when he was made in the image of God? I must have, and I will admit I did. At that point in my life, I thought the worst. So if I was made in the image, I didn't think much of God at that time. How could I? I'm not thinking much of myself. And I know we believe those things are not the same, yet they are one and the same. If you think low of yourself, there is no way that you are going to think highly of God. Not in the way that we are supposed to, that we are prescribed. See, we may think of it as a subservient relationship and we fear, and yet if you are made in the image, and I'm telling you, and we have been told that all things can be done, then where did we lose that ability? Did we stop being like the image in which we were created? Because we were told, and in verse 28 it says, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion. God blessed them, first of all, and then said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish, establish dominion. So if we're accepting life and saying, well, that's just the way it is, then you must be fruitful. You must be multiplying. You must be replenishing. You must have dominion over something. Because if you don't, that ain't the way it is. So what life have you accepted? That is not a life in action. That is not an inspired existence. That's a life on pause, on hold. Because unless we are here doing the things we were commanded, then that ain't the way life is. And so our discomfort is coming from the fact that we have accepted something other than what we were given. And I tell you, I would be uncomfortable too. If you told me that I was the son of the king and I'm living as a peasant, believing that I'm a peasant, and then I found out that I'm the son of a king, hold on, wait, I'm going to be a little upset too. Because this whole time I was living as a peasant the whole time. Why was I doing that? Now, once I find that out, I got to dust that off. I am not a peasant. I have to live. I'm going after what I was prescribed. That's mine. I'm going to get it. It is yours to go and get. Yet we're affected somehow. How is it that we stay stuck, not knowing, accepting and saying this is the way life is when it's not supposed to be that way? We're living the wrong life. How did we get this way? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Fear of the unknown. We fear the unknown. Yet there is more that we don't know than what we do. So we're fearing life. We cling to familiar pain because it feels safer. I'm okay with this. I'm going to keep accepting this over here because I'm familiar with it. But the thought of this not even existing anymore, me being rid of this pain, me not being in this situation, not being taken advantage of, manipulated, gaslit, abused, I can't fathom that. So because I can't see what that's like and I'm so familiar with this abuse, I just cling to it. It's familiar to me. So I would rather hold on to something that's familiar than let that go and embrace something that's unfamiliar. The unfamiliar is scarier than the familiar. So the abuse and the oppression that I have been accustomed to, I would rather that than, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's going to be over there if it's not. This is what we tell ourselves. We will justify being in a situation we shouldn't even be in. All the signs point to the exit, and I know because I'm too afraid that what if I go out there and it's worse? What if you go out there and it's better? How are we conditioning ourselves through fear to say that something that is negative to me, there could be something worse than that? What could be worse than the suffering that you have been going through? More suffering? Because that's all that happens as we negate ourselves, as we fear the unknown, we cling on to that known trauma, that known abuse. And what we're saying is, I'm comfortable here. This is how life is. And I've accepted this. And if we're going to accept it, then accept it. We shouldn't wake up mad. You should wake up in joy because you love your life being in turmoil. We should be in joy because we have chosen to live like this because we don't want to do the things that we're prescribed to do to get us out of that. So if we're going to accept that as the way it is, then let's accept it as the way it is. How are we going to complain? Why are we complaining if we're okay with ourselves being stuck in these situations? Another way that we get stuck is not just a fear of the unknown, but it's that uncertainty. And what is the uncertain aspect that we're talking about? Society. You can't be certain in society because it always changes. Society will have something worth $1 today, worth $100 tomorrow. This is why we say back in my day, oh my God, things are expensive. This is society. It always changes. One thing was cool, then the next thing it's not. It was trending, then it's not trending. Society has no clue. It's uncertain. Yet the societal gaslighting that we receive is this is all you deserve. We have society that will tell us what we deserve. Yet if I am to be not conformed to this world, society can't tell me what I deserve because I don't belong to that anymore. There was a time where I belonged to that. It was gaslighting the hell out of me. I believe that that is what I deserved because I was born into a certain region in the world with a certain demographic and a color and a religion. And so I deserve what I got. This is what society was telling me. You deserve this for that group. Then society turns to this group and say they deserve it. Then they turn to that group and say they deserve it. Now we're looking around and we're wondering what group didn't get their just deserves because everybody, whether it's men, women, children, it seems to go around. We're hating one group or putting one group over another every other day. This is why we can't be in society because once you step outside of that, you got to ask yourself, well, damn, who likes who? Because everybody hates everybody and doesn't trust anybody. So who likes who? The same people that you think are your friends talk about you behind your back. The allies we have are now our enemies. The enemies we used to have are now our allies. It's confusing. Society will have you believe that down is up and up is right. That's where you got left. I was confused. What? This is what happens. So we must structure ourselves. We must stand on a stable foundation. So we have the fear of the unknown, right? We have the uncertainty of society and their gaslighting telling us this is what we deserve. And we have one of the biggest of all is the doubt. Doubt of what? Spiritual resignation is God's will. It's God's will when often we're just out of touch with God's true purpose for us. We're going to determine and say, this is God's will that I suffer. Who is telling you this? This is what I had to ask myself because I started to see things like, wait, who told me this? Why did I believe this in the first place? Because when I am looking and searching myself, I don't see it. And we're going all over. Remember, our discussions don't pull from one particular modality or understanding. It pulls from the universe. So we'll go through different religions and different scriptural texts and different cultural understandings because this is how you see the all is one. We got confused because they splitting us up and they're putting you in this group and that group, and now you're confused. And you say it's God's will, but you have no clue what your purpose is. So how do we know what God's will is? Have we actually tapped into that ourselves, or were we prescribed that by someone or something else? Because society will tell us what God wants. And then remember, God will tell us. The craziest thing about all of this is that we believe we need an interpreter for God. Somebody to tell us what he means because I don't understand it. Well, then we need to show you how to remove the interference because the interpreter is the problem. Because if I am trying to interpret your purpose, I'm saying, wait. So I think what he's trying to say, ain't no trying. If we are not able to understand or hear the message, then there's a problem that we must attune. Our frequency is off. And our frequency has been so off that we have been going to other flawed people to ask them, what's God's will? And they come back and they say, well, it's God's will for you to be down there as a poor beggar, never, ever able to come out of that. And you say, and we accept these things. God never commanded you to be that. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, it says, and God blessed them. Stop right there. If God blessed you, how you think is his will for you to be struggling, for you to be poor, a beggar, for you to have abuse and never come out of that, for you to stay in darkness for the rest of your life and never see the light until you die. I'm pretty sure we would have been commanded with that and we would see it everywhere. It would say it everywhere, but it doesn't. It says, and God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful. If you understand what being fruitful is, it means to produce much, to be productive. So if he told you to be fruitful, to produce much, to be productive, and we're not being productive, so we ain't producing much, we got that one wrong. And multiply, because if you're productive and you produce much, it's going to multiply, which means you have for others. You have a surplus. And replenish, because if I'm fruitful and I'm multiplying with that which is multiplied, I can replenish. So if we ain't being fruitful, we ain't producing, we ain't being productive, it ain't multiplying, and we ain't replenishing, we got that wrong. So where is it God's will for us to suffer, for us to be stuck, for us to not live inspired every day forever? Just maybe it's us. Maybe we have made the pain, we have allowed the pain to become consistent. And so when that pain becomes consistent, we made space for it to exist. If it's consistent, you made space for it. It's living with you. It's your roommate now. You had to make space for it by saying the things that, hey, this God's will, this is the way life is. We create even more space for this pain to exist in our life. When we project, this is all I deserve. It's all I deserve. Nothing else. It is what it is. You anchor yourself into lack, self-doubt, and low value. If only we could see ourselves digging a ditch and jumping in it, and then somebody else will put the dirt on top of you. That's easy. They let you dig your own ditch, and then they'll throw the dirt on you. You ain't got to worry about that. Get in the hole. I got you. Don't worry about it. Matter of fact, I'll help you dig the ditch. You gonna get in there? How many people help you climb out of that ditch, though? So don't worry about focusing on how and who helped us get there. Pay attention to who is helping you get out of it. And if you see the same person helping you get out that helped you get in, then that's how you know, hey, you here for me. Hey, this is who's responsible. And 9 times out of 10, we only see ourselves. The same person that's there when you got out was the same person that was there when you got in. You. Do we think accountability means that because I said that all of a sudden I should be depressed and my life is over? No, you should be empowered. Because the moment that you say, I did it, guess who can undo it? I can. When you say he did it, you need them to undo it. And if they don't want to, then it doesn't get undone. Take accountability. Because if you did it, you can undo it. And when we realize that we are allowing, we can disallow it. We can stop it. And so the scriptural anchors that back that up, and cultural anchors. The first one comes from Psalm chapter 46, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. Some of y'all still moving. You said, be still. Nope, I ain't got time to be still. Don't be still. Keep going. Because you have free will. But it says, be still. And those who heard it going to stop. Be still and know that I am God. This stillness that we're so afraid of, we're afraid to stop moving. We're afraid to stop thinking. We're afraid to stop talking. We don't want to be still. This is why we're disconnected, because the stillness reconnects. The stillness reconnects you to that divine purpose, to that divine understanding. Yet you think that your resignation does. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm good. That just got you further away. Be still and reflect. This is how you will know. Yet if you've never done it, or if you don't do it, those are the people that's going to have the most questions. Well, no, and they're going to be the most convicted at what don't work. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I told you, we have free will. You can do it or you cannot do it. I'm not here to argue about what works and what don't work. I don't have to argue. That's the whole point. You don't have to argue with people. You already been prescribed. What you arguing with them for? That's a waste of your time. That's actually what's keeping you stagnant. Because now you're spending most of your time wanting to argue. Argue what? What you going to try to tell somebody else if they're suffering or not? You're going to try to let somebody tell you if you're in pain or not and how much pain you should be in? Argue for what? Your focus should be how to live inspired every day forever. So in order to do that, I have to never stop prospering. It requires effort daily. So if my life requires effort daily so that I can be inspired, I don't have time to worry about y'all every day. I don't have time to go back and forth with you. I don't have time to argue with you. It doesn't matter what it is. We're arguing about things that don't benefit our lives. You can argue about all the starving kids in the world, but did you feed your own? Are you feeding yourself? Did you eat? Are you making a way so that you can provide? We're talking about what everybody else needs to do in their life, what every country needs to do, how they should govern, and we ain't even governing our own lives how we were prescribed. We don't want to be still. We got too much to do. I got too much going on to be still. Well, you won't know. This is why you don't have to argue, because it told you, be still. Don't argue with them about who this is and who that is and what that is and why they're right and you're wrong. Just be still. When they start arguing, just be still. You will know. Trust me. Don't trust me. Trust yourself. You will know. Just be still. Lao Tzu tells us, when you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. I got the whole world in my hand. Why? Because there's nothing that is lacking. You have everything that you need. The issue is we don't see it. It ain't that you don't got it, that you're blind to it. It says when you realize. It doesn't say when you are made to, when somebody when you. That's on your own time. It might take you 10 days, 10 years, 100. That's on your time. So again, you don't need to argue about it because you're on your time. And your time is different than their time. They might have got it when they were 20. You might get it when you're 40. Who cares? You had other things you were doing in that time that they might not have been experiencing. You must understand that it's when you realize, not when I realize it. Not when whoever's not looking at this video or sitting in the live discussion. Don't matter. Who's there? That's there. That's who's there. We can't worry about who's not. What we're doing today, right now, is the only concern. I don't know about tomorrow because I ain't here yet. These things getting us outside of that present moment is why we feel like we lacking something. It's why we feel like we behind. You keep thinking about the past and the future, but you forgot to be in this present moment. And if I'm thinking about the past, that's always something that's behind that I forgot. And if I'm thinking about the future, it's always something that didn't happen yet, which will make me anxious and nervous and doubtful because it's the unknown. So what do we know right now in this present moment? That's what you know. And if you be still, you got the rest. So an African proverb says, a patient person eats ripe fruit. A patient person eats ripe fruit. Think about that. Why does a patient person eat ripe fruit? Because if you're impatient, you're going to grab that fruit before it's ripe. You're going to bite it and say, oh, this was sour. It's disgusting. A patient person allows the fruit to ripen. And what is that fruit? Our abundance. You allow these things to happen. I just remember myself when I was an impatient person and wouldn't allow the fruit to ripen. I wanted it now. So what I would end up doing is not allow my abundance to ripen. I'm want to take it prematurely before it's done. The impatient person can't stay in the kitchen because they always going to want to know, is the food ready? I'm ready to eat. The impatient person don't like to be on the journey because they're going to ask, are we there yet? Are we there yet? We ain't even put out the driveway. What? The patient person understands we're not there, but we're on the way. There's a journey. It's going to take us some time. So while I'm doing it, maybe put on some music, check out the sights outside. If I'm not driving, I can sleep. The patient person knows, I smell that food in the kitchen. It's not long before it's done, and then we're going to eat. The patient person knows, if I start this business, if I invest my money, it's going to take time. If I plant this seed, I have to allow the proper time for that to mature before I look for a return. I can't allow that seed just to sprout and pull out the ground. But, no, you didn't. It didn't even grow. I can't put that investment in and get shaky feet and then all of a sudden I'm pulling it out. No, you didn't allow it to mature. I can't take these thoughts that I have and just throw them away and not even put them into action. That's also allowing your fruit to ripen. You have thoughts in your head about what could be, but you don't allow that fruit to ripen. You won't pursue it. You won't plant the seed so it actually becomes a tree so it bears fruit. You prematurely pick it and throw it away. Or you prematurely pick it and give it away. You're giving people your thoughts because you didn't grow it. So then they took it and they had just what it needed. And you said they stole it. No. So you gave that fruit away because you didn't think it was going to ripen. All right, here y'all go. Then we just, thank you. We put it on the countertop. That fruit actually ripened. It was the sweetest it was ever going to be. And you didn't know how. You swore somebody stole something from you, took something from you. Can't be. They got better luck than me. It's not that. Your patience or impatience may be responsible. But you have the opportunity always, every day, to change that. So one way we're going to empower you to do that is we're going to craft our identity for life, or your life identity. So the first step with this is part of our assessment that we do with our clients and our mentees. So to craft your identity for life, first step, you're going to name your normalized suffering. So line one, it's going to say, I've accepted blank because blank. And this is you. So everybody should have something different. I've accepted blank because of blank. And so under that, we want to have some space because we're going to rewrite our narrative. So that was us naming our normalized suffering. I've accepted blank because of blank. Now to rewrite that, we're going to say my life, and you're going to spell that LIEF, my life identity and embraces blank. My life identity rejects blank and embraces blank. And so, for example, it would say, once done, I've accepted exhaustion because hustle culture says it's noble. So that was my normalized suffering, that I've accepted exhaustion because hustle culture says it's noble. To rewrite my narrative, my life identity rejects burnout and embraces rhythmic, inspired work. Why? Because if I've accepted exhaustion, the outcome of exhaustion is going to be burnout. We all feel burnt out. It's too much. And because hustle culture says that's noble, I reject burnout and I embrace what I want in that space. So I don't want burnout, but I do want rhythmic. I do want to flow with my inspired work. And so this is how I begin to craft my identity for life. This is what I'm starting with when I say what I want for my life. I reject burnout and I embrace rhythmic, inspired work. And that's exactly what I do. I don't have burnout because I don't have the 9-to-5 job. Because of my business, I'm able to do work that flows, that I like to do. It's in rhythm and aligns with my life, and it's inspired. It allows me to prosper, and it requires a daily effort. So this is something that allows me to prosper, and it requires my daily effort. Not just daily effort for others, but I do daily effort in this for myself. And then I come speak. And then I work with mentees throughout the week. But that's what, and it's our inspired work is something that prospers you and also requires your daily effort. So we think about a job. A job could be that. If it's something that you love to do and it prospers you, right? But not everybody likes their job. So you will find one that prospers you. And this is in every position, in every part of our life. Our relationships should prosper us. And they should also require our effort daily, not an exhausting effort. Like every day I gotta remind this person. But you're giving that effort daily, right? Waking up daily, putting that your best foot forward, not just this life. It's just gonna happen, right? It is what it is. And so a life action reframe. This is all about life. It's all about living inspired every day forever. After you've developed your identity for life and you're saying what your normalized suffering is, whatever that is for you, and we rewrite that narrative, we are going to reframe. And it's called a life action reframe, is because this is the act that we're changing that is going to assist us in living inspired every day forever. We are going to replace I have to with I choose to. We replace I have to with I choose to. Matter of fact, just the thought of that is refreshing. Just the thought of that took a weight off my back. I choose to. I choose to go to work today, not I have to go to work. I choose to do this, not I have to, because who wants to live where you have to? Man, that makes me itch just thinking about it. And I know some of you are like me, where it's like, that is one of the biggest problems. The fact that you feel like you have to, the fact that somebody could tell you that you have to. You can't take off today. I have to go to work. I can't go to my daughter's recital because I have to do this, or I have to miss out on these events because I have to do. We don't want that. In our life, we want to choose what we want to do in all things. If I choose to go here, that's more empowering than I had to. When you say you have to, it didn't even mean you wanted to. If you choose to, that's something that you wanted to do. It was your choice. And are we not here to choose what life we want to live? Our experiences, we are. And when we take advantage of that, when we do, remember, we can, so we will. But if we're telling ourselves we can't, then we won't. So we want to change I have to I choose to. We're going to move from a powerless obligation to intentional dominion. Establishing dominion does not always mean you're trying to control somebody else. That's where we got lost. It said establish dominion over the earth. And people said, oh, that means I got to control. I'm going to start knocking people over the head. No, the first dominion you should establish is your own life. So to establish dominion over your life, you would choose to. You can't say you establish dominion and you say, I have to. I got no choice, y'all. There's always choice, even if you think you didn't choose. So what are practical tools that we can use, right? We want micro practices or macro changes. Small practices that have big impact. I'll say this. I'm going to take a sip myself because what I'm about to say may seem out of the ordinary. And that's good because we're out of the ordinary. This is an alien life that we're talking about, where we are going to live inspired every day forever because we are going to put in the required effort daily. That's crazy. So one of the first tools for life in action, a micro practice for a macro change, hydration, or as they used to say, as we say in the Marines, hydration is continuous. This is both symbolic and practical. We are not properly hydrating ourselves as people. And it might be like, this man's talking about water. I'm talking about water. If you don't understand the importance of hydration, then all this is going to be for naught. It's going to just sound like, the hell is he talking about? If the world is made up of what they say, like 80% water, if your body is made up of like 80% water, and yet we're not hydrated, you are dehydrated, what state are you in? Are you in an uplifted state? Are you in an empowered state? Are you in a powerless state? Or did you establish dominion? And the reason why I'm saying hydration optimization is because our bodies are what we use or what we need. These are our vessels. This is what protects us. This is what gives us ability. This is who we are for a lot of people. And we don't put what's needed into the vehicle that we need to carry us from a baby to adulthood into our elder age if we're able to make it. So physically not hydrating our bodies makes you rigid. You start to have things break down. Matter of fact, when your body is dehydrated, you feel depleted. Your energy levels are always low. Symbolically, when you're not hydrated, you're rigid. So we're both talking about a physical hydration, literally drinking water in our bodies, and also a spiritual hydration. For there's not a religious text, cultural doctrine, saying, belief, school that does not talk about the importance of water. It's a hydration and it's a cleansing agent. And so if our bodies are lacking that thing, which hydrates us, that keeps us uplifted, then how are we ever to think we will be inspired? Uplift, empower, inspire. So with each sip, I tell myself that I choose fluidity over rigidity. And it's not simply just saying, oh, I drink a cup of water a day. When you get to the point where you understand the importance of water to your body and you are making sure that you fill your body with the needed water, you start to understand the importance of you. We just discarded like water. He's talking about water. It's not that important. I don't care about water. You don't understand how important you are. And what that simple H2O is going to do. I don't want to get too deep into it because this is what we teach and this is what we prescribe our mentees and our clients. But I'm telling you, hydration, water is important for your life and action. And so physically, drink water first thing you do in the morning. We're talking about micro practices. We're talking about things that most people do not believe in. Most people will tell you all these different things that sound so profound. Get up, do 10 jumping jacks, do all that. Nope. Drink water first. I told you I'm not going to argue with you. You have free will. Do what you want to do. I'm just here to prescribe some things that might help. Drink water first because that's what you're telling yourself, that I'm rejecting this dehydrated survival mode that I've been in. We're going to do something different. I never used to drink water like this before. I'm about to start because it is about out with the old, being transformed and renewed. If you're transformed, that's something different. If you're renewed, that ain't the old. So if you wasn't drinking it before, you are now because you're doing something different, radical changes in our lives. We're not going to be dehydrated and in survival mode anymore. And what is that doing metaphorically for you? Telling you, what soul dehydrating practices have I been accepting? If I've been dehydrating myself physically, what has been dehydrating my soul that I've been accepting? I haven't been pouring water into that either. Every organism needs water. Plants need water to survive. This needs water. The earth needs water. We don't. So if I've been dehydrated in survival mode, what soul dehydrating patterns have I also accepted? There is a present practice that we also want to do. And everybody says 5 minutes. I want to challenge you. If you can do 5, do 15. Anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes. Wherever you stop. Anywhere between 5 and 15. Do a present practice. Pause, breathe, and ask, what joy is available right now? In the midst of your confusion, your chaos, the kids is screaming and it's all this going on. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. The bills are due. Pause, breathe, and ask, what joy is available right now? Be still and allow that answer to come to you. And then act. And then there's a 5% shift. This one, you're going to identify one thought, one habit, or one choice that you can move just 5% towards alignment this week. Just one, right? A thought, habit, or a choice that you can move just 5%. Habit, drinking more water, just 5% is waking up every morning and the first thing you do is take a sip of water. That's it. You ain't have to drink more throughout the day. We're not asking you to drink a gallon. If you can move 5%, just wake up, drink water first thing. A thought, wake up, and instead of thinking something negative, change that. Just see if you think a positive thought. Write down something positive to say in the morning when you wake up. You don't have anything? Here you go. 5% shift when you wake up in the morning and you wake up and you say, damn it, it's Monday. And this Monday, today will be the most inspiring day ever. That's a 5% shift. And you may not believe it when you first say it. Today is the most inspiring day ever. And then that voice says, no, it ain't. You got to go. Da, da, da. You're making a 5% shift. It does not mean that once you do it, all of a sudden you got it. No, we're developing. We're taking a step each day. 5% on a choice. Again, both of those are choices. To wake up and choose to drink water first thing, to wake up and choose to say something positive and impactful, that's a choice. But if you want a choice, take a different route than you would normally take, whether it's to work, school, wherever you're going. Take a different route than the same one that you would normally take. And if you say, well, I can't take a different route because the route that I take is the fastest route and I don't want to be late to work, then make the choice and wake up earlier. See, the thing about it is you're going to run out of excuses to give yourself. And you want to start correcting yourself the moment that you hear it. This is what we're empowering you to be able to do. When you say, I can't, you're going to say, wait a minute. Actually, I can if I just did this. Now you got to decide if that's something you want to do. Here comes that free will. You were saying that you couldn't. Oh, wait, I can. I would just have to wake up earlier. Do I want to do that? No, I don't want to wake up earlier. So I'm just going to run the chance that I'm going to continue to be late. Great. It's better when we choose it, though. Then you say, I have to. I have to go that way. I have to do this way. No, you know what? The things that you have to do, we ain't doing. We're choosing not to do. So how are you going to tell me you have to do that when the things that you have to do, you're choosing not to do? It's not that you have to do that. You choose to see it that way. That's okay. And how are we going to back that up? Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. Take therefore no thought for the morrow. Don't think about tomorrow, today, right now. The moment you start thinking about tomorrow, you start worrying. The moment you start thinking about next year, you start creating problems. And as somebody who is both in the world as a physical person and also as an entrepreneur with a business, I can tell you that all that roadmap stuff is BS. It's BS. I'm going to make you project 10 years down the line just to come get a loan from me. So you have to present your business and show me your 3-year, 6-year, 9-year plan so I can give you money and you out of business after 3 years. You had a 10-year plan to stay in business and you didn't make it 10 years. How you had a plan for something that didn't happen yet, but you didn't have a plan for right now. That's the issue. You're projecting way down the line, but you have no clue about right now. If all you knew was the present moment, your future will be taken care of because there's only today. There's only this present moment. Until this moment is gone, there is nothing else. You have no clue what's going to happen right after. Well, I have no clue what's going to exactly happen after this discussion. I don't know if, matter of fact, before this discussion, I don't even know if anybody's going to tune in. After when I post it, I don't know if anybody's going to watch it. I don't know if anybody's going to take any of these steps, if anybody's writing anything down. And that's not what I worry about. Because if I worry about that, it's going to impact everything. If I'm worried about how many people are in here right now, because I'm watching the numbers, or how many people are watching my content, or what am I saying? What's the important thing? How many people watch, or how many people actually begin to live inspired every day forever? It's more important that you live inspired every day forever. So I don't care if 10 watch, 200, 2,000. But before I get to that point, I had to make sure I am living inspired every day forever. So it didn't even matter about you. Till I am able to begin to inspire myself, I shouldn't even be looking to try and inspire anybody else. Because if I can't do it for me, I damn sure can't do it for you. And we got so many people that we can't do for ourselves, yet we're trying to do for others. We can't govern ourselves, yet we're trying to govern others. You know why? Because it's easier to tell you what to do than it is for me to do what I know I'm supposed to do. That's why I say, I'm going to do this tomorrow. That's why we always say that. I'll do it tomorrow, because tomorrow come, you're going to put it on tomorrow again. How many times do we say, I'm going to do it today? Wake up and determine what you're going to do today. Because the presence frees us from worry about outcomes. I'm right here. I don't know about that. I'm not worried about it. The Dalai Lama tells us happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. So it's not ready-made. It comes from your own actions. There is a point of time where someone else's actions affect us, especially when we're younger and when we're incapable of doing for ourselves. But there's a moment where we become adults, and that means that now we have the ability to do for ourselves. It doesn't mean that you're capable of doing it. It doesn't mean that you're able. I'm not saying that. That's the first step we have to take to make ourselves. So I'm not trying to say, oh, you're messed up because you're I don't know what position you're in. All I'm saying is you can get yourself out of it, whatever it is. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about a position that you're in. I'm just saying you can get out of it. We can make a way, because I'm never going to tell you that you cannot. We must understand that joy is cultivated. It's cultivated, not waited for. We can't wait for joy. We cultivate joy. This is your natural state, and we are just not in our natural state. Corinthians 16, chapter 16, verse 14 says, let all that you do be done in love. Because every action, no matter how small, shapes your life. We got so much hate going around that we don't even want to do things in love. The moment we hear, let all that you do be done in love, why should I do it in love? This person didn't do it. That's the problem. And we talked about this in our previous discussion. Giving, not for others, but because giving is what provides joy. That's all it is giving. Give and you will be given unto. So if you giving them trash, you'll be given trash. So give love and you will be given love. So if you're wondering why, it's because you looking at them saying they didn't give me love, so I'm not going to give nobody else love. That's fine. You will never get it either. And if you're okay with that, then okay, because you choose it. So all we want to do is give you the option to choose. That's it. If you choose to live your life angry, hateful, spiteful, irritable, that's on you. But you do not have to. And one of my favorite, Thich Nhat Hanh says, walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet. And as a person who used to hate feet and the idea of kissing feet, I'm like, damn, the earth like kissing feet. But that was before. I understand the purpose now. I was just hating stuff just because I ain't understand it. I hate feet. I ain't understand it. Whatever. But it says, walk as if you're kissing the earth with your feet. If you can visualize that, your feet was kissing the earth every step, you would approach life mindfully, joyfully, tenderly. You wouldn't be so rigid. You wouldn't be so angry, so uptight all the time. Be a little bit more relaxed. We'd be mindful. Hopefully we'd be in joy. So walk as if you're kissing the earth with your feet. That's pretty. Just the thought of that is kind of crazy. I want to get an AI to generate somebody's feet as lips kissing the earth. That'd be kind of crazy. So now we move to the last part of our discussion. Closing it out. We're going to do Q&A. Give you the 3 questions or thought-provoking questions that we're going to journal and ask ourselves. Number 1. Uno. What silent suffering have you normalized in your life? What silent suffering have you normalized in your life? 2. Dos. How can you reframe presence as a doorway to abundance? How can you reframe presence as a doorway to abundance? Number 3. Dos, tres. Who in your life needs to experience joy through your intentional presence or generosity? That might be hard because it's asking who in your life needs to experience joy through your intentional presence or generosity. Probably like nobody because they need. No, somebody. This is who. Right? They're going to experience joy through you. Who needs that? Those are our weekly prompts that we want to journal and ask ourselves. Again, feel free to share them through DMs. You can share them with your friends. You can share them in text messages. You can pose these questions to other people, however you like to do it. The only hope is that you like to do it for you because it benefits us. So that's why we want to do it. So as we close out with our final thought, right? I want to remind you that you were not created to endure the old life, to be oppressed, to not believe there is a way out, to think that this is it, that the life that you were given is the only life that you got. You were designed to live abundantly, joyfully, and to be prosperous. Most importantly, you're here to live an inspired life. In order to do that, we have to break the cycle, disrupt the script, and choose to live inspired every day, forever, because that's life.